yes, they can go for big pickoffs, but can they secure, will they be able to actually hunt for that Irithel in the back line?
The Cho should be flexing to the jungle here. They pick up a Farsa, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reason I was about to say they can flex the Cho into the jungle. That's already a solid counter to the lane, but they need someone to catch that back line to find the Irithel. Now, both of these picks, the Farsa and the signature Franco, can do that. Farsa poking the Irithel down, and obviously those iron hooks from Vin. The Franco that's been hidden throughout the regular season, throughout the playoffs. This is their hidden weapon, and they picked it up here. ONIC Esports, however, have a chance to pick up a Diggy here against so much CC. Lockdown from RRQ, even up against the 1-1, it becomes such a viable option for ONIC Esports. But is Keyboy comfortable on a hero like that? No, he isn't. He goes for the Lolita instead here. Another form of that counter with the shield towards 1-1.
Yeah, but even then, RRQ Hoshi, they have a really strong draft, right? Because we've seen how crazy the Cho jungle pick can be against an assassin jungle, of course, for the opposing end. And in this stage, every time they go for neutral objectives, it might be Cho winning this out. And in terms of wave clear, RRQ Hoshi are going to have it in that mid lane because of how fast and how crazy the range from Farsa can be, plus the mobility with the wings by wings. They are going to be able to rotate a lot faster in comparison to ONIC. But on the flip side, ONIC has someone like the Valentina who can utilize these big engages from the Cho with the Wave Dragon, the Farsa with her ultimate, the Feather Airstrike, and even Franco with the Suppress. So it all comes back down to how Clay is also able to utilize this Valentina pick to its utmost potential.
Speaking of combinations in the mid lane, RRQ, that's a lot of dominance, man. Quick roams, crowd control, and burst damage. You really start worrying about Kyrie on that lane. Without a strong jungler, an assassin against a tank, as well with a backup from the Farsa and the Franco, it's going to be dangerous for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to dive into game number 1 in the Land of Dawn. The Royal Derby, RRQ Hoshi versus ONIC Esports.
We're going to see how these two kings collide with one another here in game number 1 with a set of differences in their composition here.
So at every moment, ONIC, this is a man that they need to keep their eyes on, but now we're back into the game, and a Little Wanderer is already secured by Kyrie.
We're going to see what happens here. As you can see, Keyboy as well as CW here in the bottom side, pressuring what we already assume to be that losing lane on Skylar. But the Talents prediction by Axe shows a 2 versus 4 in RRQ's hands right now in terms of this draft.
They have a lot more dynamic possibilities. And speaking of the current season, the team that usually gets ahead, especially teams as disciplined and as strategic as RRQ Hoshi and ONIC Esports, it's hard to imagine them making a big blunder that allows the game to be turned on its heel. But right now, ONIC already going aggressive onto the bot side.
Oh, Skylar doesn't have that second ability. Kyrie jumps over the Tempest of Blade, able to pick up first blood, striking first in game 1. And just as I mentioned, ONIC Esports, they are going to be looking for that strong side play, right? Over in the bottom side, where Irithel has such a massive advantage up against the 1-1 in this 1v1, they're going to have to play for it. And RRQ doing the same, but towards that top side, where Esmeralda actually has more pressure compared to Boots on the Paquito. Albert going for the secure. Boots comes in with a knockout strike, but Albert still secures the turtle. A kill over to ONIC, an objective over to RRQ.
The mirror play is going to favor RRQ Hoshi just because the turtle spawned there in the top side. So with the pressure that they had in the top side, they were able to convert onto an objective. And of course, now we are going to be able to take a little look into the emblems in the second minute.
Of course, initially you can take a look at the emblems for the junglers. And Albert prioritizes the clearing a lot better because Kyrie, on an assassin, he will need to make those flashy plays happen, especially with strong backlines like a Farsa, like a 1-1. If he doesn't jive towards the back line, it's going to be very difficult for ONIC Esports to try and pressure them enough. But now RRQ making a play for the bot side. Keyboy walks away knowing that something is a bit off. So ONIC Esports, once again, avoid danger unless Vin makes something crazy happens. And this is what you are able to do. You can force your opponents to play very passively when you are on that Franco.
Yeah, RRQ Hoshi, they know that Skylar needs a little bit of help there in the bottom side, seeing as he's already been taken down once. They are going to collide here in the middle lane, cause a little bit more pressure.
Oh, Lolita doing a blast! Albert able to dodge away with the Shunpu. Vin going to be caught here as he goes in for a bloody hunt. But the airstrike doesn't find its mark. Kyrie dashing all over the place. Picking up a kill for Sans here. It's still ONIC Esports with the lead in terms of the kills. And again, this is what RRQ needs to be careful of. If they play in that towards that bottom side, it's ONIC who have the lead.
They have an advantage when it comes to crowd control and dynamic pickup potential. But overall, if there's an objective, is everyone's in place to fight around ONIC Esports with the stronger gold laner, with more damage on their assassins, and of course with Keyboy having a lot more AoE CC presence compared to Vin on that Franco. It's going to be a lot more difficult, so Vin needs to look for situations, opportunities where his hero can be a lot more dynamic, a lot more useful than that Lolita.
1,000 gold lead for ONIC Esports here in the 4th minute, as both of these teams are going to be collapsing onto the next neutral objective of that turtle. Unfortunately, it misses, but here we go.
Oh, massive re-engage here as the Numenon Blast connects onto Vin. ONIC Esports played that so well, knowing that RRQ needs to wait for that hook. They dive in instantly for Vin, and now it's a 4v5. ONIC on to that turtle. Albert looking for that steal. Feather airstrike popped in by Clay. Right now onto Kyrie. Albert looking for that steal once again, jumping in, but Kyrie is the one who finds it. Comes the Blaze popped in as well. R7 still able to kite away. The Dragon bringing Keyboy back for Skylar to pick up the kill. Crossbow Tang over the boots, but the damage is not enough right now in the early stage. It's just a trade right now. A kill over for another kill for ONIC Esports and a turtle.
The Numenon Blast is just such a dynamic ultimate that ONIC Esports in a 5v5 situation, when the setup is right, they are going to be able to create way more space for their members to go on. And that's completely different with RRQ Hoshi, right? Their only source of engage for the moment is either Vin or Albert, and both of these heroes have a point and click stun on one. So it's not an AoE CC, so it's not as dynamic as ONIC. So RRQ Hoshi, they need to think about this. Can they utilize their composition, look for more pickoffs on the board? Because otherwise, ONIC Esports, they're just going to snowball from all the engage that they have.
Right, the ONIC Esports is pushing RRQ away, and RRQ, they're struggling to find that grab. But you guys can actually grab it very easily with the app. Use that promo code and get up to 90% discount, because this game is going to be a long, drawn-out game for sure. None of these teams are inexperienced at slowing down the game and looking for a comeback.
It's a best of 7 too, so a very long game. Please go and wash your hair, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, with Head and Shoulders, because hey, no one wants to see that dandruff. No one wants to smell bad, right? And especially the players here who are going to be playing on stage. They definitely smell good with that Head and Shoulders. But RRQ right now, not looking as fresh as ONIC Esports. Sans with a bloody hunt here is able to lock Albert down, but Albert comes back in. The damage comes in, and look at the now blast for 3. ONIC Esports collapse into RRQ as the Tempest Blaze will be popped into the back line. Kyrie is dashing, being the distraction. Sans dealing the damage. Feather airstrike by Clay defensively, but he's going to be sandwiched in by Boots as he comes in. It's Kyrie with a triple kill, presented to you by Samsung Galaxy A Series 5G. R7 forced to back up. It's ONIC Esports with a 3.6k gold lead. That snowball already for ONIC.
Wow, 2-for-0 trade, and now ONIC Esports instantly go on convert that on the turtle. And this is looking like a one-sided game here, as Albert is even struggling to get his own buff at this stage.
Wow, Sans as well with that Purify. He kicked Albert away from the orange buff, giving Boots a little bit more time to go for the steal. Albert still gets it in the end, but that Purify comes in clutch. Here, Arashi, with the 5,000 gold lead that ONIC Esports have built. Let's take a look at the items.
Windtalker and the Berserker's Fury on Kyrie, so a lot of damage. And if the fight gets drawn out, essentially DPS as well. And what's important to look at here is the fact that Boots already has that Bloodlust Axe as well. So when it comes to the sustain game, he won't be losing out to that Esmeralda. And arguably, in those fights, he is a lot more significant of a threat towards that backline of RRQ Hoshi. Because in a funny way, both these teams, both their compositions actually do a lot better when they're the aggressors. When they're on the back foot, like right now, Vin is finding a very difficult time trapping and abusing the card control from that Franco. And the same can be said about Keyboy if the situation was reversed.
Albert only has the purple buff, and 60 seconds are left on the clock. We do see Boots once again being a nuisance there in the bottom side, putting a lot of pressure there, as now ONIC make a play here in the top side. Unfortunately, Vin is not going to be able to connect that objective onto Keyboy, and they are just going to be completely zoned away at this stage. They do have better high ground, but of course ONIC Esports with Sans, they're going to also be able to have high ground if they steal the Feather Airstrike from Clay.
They're going to have to funnel some gold into Skylar because as it stands, the Irithel is absolutely going to eat this 1-1 up in these team fights. And the thing is, Vin can't really look for those crazy hooks in this game because, guess what? That Lolita is always ready with the shield. RRQ, it doesn't feel like they're able to really make anything happen in the map right now, considering that, again, they're behind. And like Arashi mentioned, this is a team that does super well when they are ahead, or even, they need to be the aggressors. That's the main point. But even if they are the aggressors now, I don't think they're going to be able to win. 6,000 gold deficit for RRQ.
With 6,000 gold, you can see that RRQ, they're starting to actually corral together.
Oh!
Esports.
Kiboy stole the purple buff!
Wow, that is just unfortunate. And now ONIC Esports, they're going for the Lord. And RRQ, they want to keep going.
Vin flickers in, but there was a little bit of hesitation there as the Numenon Blast doesn't connect onto anyone. RRQ in shambles in game 1 for now. ONIC Esports taking full control of the game. Keyboy going for the stun. Albert has the Shanpu to get out. And RRQ will leave the first Lord for ONIC Esports to take for free.
7,000 gold lead here for ONIC Esports as of right now, here in the 10th minute. Being able to secure the Lord without a fight from RRQ Hoshi at all. And this is so difficult. Vin isn't able to be the sandbag for his team because he is on a Franco. What he can do is look for pickoffs with his hooks, but up until this point, he hasn't really been able to land it, even though the Lolita isn't in the vicinity, even though Keyboy is not in the vicinity. He tried to look for a play onto CW, but because of the movement speed perhaps from CW on the Irithel, he is still able to outmaneuver any initiation points coming in from Vin. 8,000 gold lead now, Rashi.
8,000 gold lead, and that means more items available to counter Skylar in that late game as well. The Crossbow of Tang is a very strong ultimate, but it can be countered by a single item, a Wind of Nature, Winter Truncheon as well. With this kind of gold lead, ONIC Esports for sure will be respecting the only real potential for RRQ Hoshi to come back in the late game. Right now, Hook attempted by Vin, but it won't connect, and ONIC Esports are coming in with the Lord. This is a tough situation, and RRQ Hoshi have no real answer to the long-range composition from ONIC Esports.
There's going to be a lot of poke. Feather Airstrike popped in once again to clear out the waves by Clay in the base. A hook connects finally for Vin. That's a hook onto Keyboy, though as Albert jumps in with the way the Dragon, brings CW back for the damage to come through from the side of R7. But Kyrie jumps into that back line, going to be able to dish out the damage, but won't be able to take Vin down. Crossbow attack going to be ready for Skylar right now, but he doesn't pop it just yet. Boots is able to knock Skylar out with 2 punches into the head. ONIC Esports still managing to defend, to get out actually of that siege. 2 for 2 for RRQ. Still an 8,000 gold lead for ONIC. It's not enough for RRQ.
Taking out Keyboy and CW. Not nearly enough right now. We take a look at the damage dealt by Axe. Suns all the way up there, followed by Kyrie and R7. The only one with significant damage on the side of RRQ. Even Clay with the long range, with the AoE, is unable to match because right now the threat towards the squishier members is so real. And this is exactly what RRQ Hoshi needs, right? A hook, an engage, and that was a hook onto a Lolita. So if he lands it on someone even more important, like CW right there, this could be a very different game, and ONIC Esports understand that. They know that RRQ Hoshi, they used to be called the comeback kings.
8,000, almost 9,000 gold lead at this point, and it's insane because in that previous team fight, it was nearly worth it for RRQ Hoshi, but Boots really just denied that, being able to pick Skylar off, who is now sitting at a 1-2-1 KDA. And if we take a look at the players' gold here, Clay, Skylar, and Albert really low there on the charts, but here we go.
Albert going to be collapsed on, instantly deleted. Vin hooks a minion in. Kyrie jumping in, getting out of range, and look at the damage, look at the collapse, look at the damage from CW. Just gunning Skylar down, gunning Vin down as well. It's a triple kill for CW. R7 charging in that falling star moon, won't choose to go for it. ONIC Esports can actually look for the dive here, but they will just look for that base turret up top. 2 base turrets down, 11,000 gold lead. RRQ still looking for the defense as Kyrie is on the Lord. ONIC Esports dispersing really well right now, but R7 won't be able to take that damage. But the airstrike popped in throughout the mini waves, but it's going to be cancelled out for the knockout strike. And ONIC Esports draw first blood in this series. 1-0 for ONIC Esports.
A one-sided game here for ONIC Esports against RRQ Hoshi, with how much prowess they had in terms of that laning. It's so obvious that when Skylar loses that lane, it seems like RRQ Hoshi have no answer to work.